a small village nestled between rolling hills, two boys, Arif and Tariq, were the best of friends. Arif was 7, and Tariq was 12. They spent every waking moment together, running through the fields, exploring the woods, and helping each other with their chores. They had grown up side by side, and everyone in the village knew them as inseparable. One bright afternoon, while playing near the river that flowed through the edge of the village, they found something unexpected, an old, worn-out raft tied to a tree. "Let's take it down the river," Tariq suggested, his eyes gleaming with excitement. Arif hesitated, looking at the churning water, but Tariq was so eager that Arif couldn't resist. Together, they untied the raft and climbed aboard. The river was strong, but the raft moved slowly at first. They laughed, their voices echoing as the trees and fields faded behind them. But as they ventured further downstream, the current began to pick up speed. The raft started rocking dangerously, and suddenly a huge splash sent both of them tumbling into the water. Arif struggled to stay afloat, his small body weak against the force of the river. "Arif!" Tariq cried, trying to reach his friend, but the current was too strong. He was pulled back, and the two were quickly separated. Arif could feel himself being carried away, gasping for breath as the water surged around him. Panic surged in his chest. But then, he remembered something his grandmother had once told him. "When the river is too wild, be the calm within it." Clinging to a nearby rock, Arif took a deep breath. He didn't have the strength to fight the river directly, but maybe he didn't need to. He looked around and saw an overhanging branch from a tree close to the bank. He carefully pulled himself toward it, inch by inch, using every ounce of energy he had. It was a slow process, but the more he believed in himself, the clearer his next step became. Meanwhile, Tariq was still being tossed by the river, but he hadn't given up on Arif. He noticed a small boat anchored a little further upstream. Without thinking, Tariq swam toward it, pulling himself inside and paddling furiously toward where he had last seen his friend. After what felt like hours, Arif finally reached the bank, exhausted but safe. Just as he lay down, Tariq pulled the boat ashore. The boys embraced, both breathless and covered in mud, but relieved to be together again. Tariq looked at Arif, his eyes wide in disbelief. "How did you do that? How did you stay calm?" Arif smiled, exhausted but content. "I didn't know I could do it. I just kept thinking, if I can stay calm and believe that I can, maybe I will." They sat there for a while, both boys quiet, staring at the river that had almost swept them away. When they finally made their way back to the village, their families were waiting, worried and anxious. They couldn't believe the story the boys told, how they had survived the river. The villagers were skeptical, laughing at first. A 7-year-old and a 12-year-old survived the river? Impossible. But this time, it was an old man who stepped forward, one of the village's founding members. He had lived through many storms, and he had seen countless children grow up. He turned to the villagers with a serious look on his face. "The question isn't how they survived," the old man said. "The question is why they survived." Everyone looked confused. The old man continued, "Arif and Tariq survived because they didn't doubt themselves. They had no idea they couldn't do it, so they kept trying. The moment you believe you can't do something, that's when you give up. These boys didn't give up. They believed in themselves when no one else did." The villagers stood in silence. They realized the truth in the old man's words. Arif and Tariq had done something that seemed impossible, simply because they refused to believe they couldn't. What do you think of this story? Share your thoughts in the comments and pass it on to your friends. Thank you.